Failure is good. Failure is okay. That's what it sharpens you and makes you be better.
Ways to organically grow businesses right now. And the two that I'm seeing as the most effective are first, your social media, and second, the network marketing. If you could give a piece of advice to somebody who wanted to go into business for themselves, what would you tell them?
Do it. Just do it. Don't wait around.
Welcome back to the Base Business Podcast. I'm your host, Parker McCumber. I am here again with Tannen Bodell.
Let's
now,
go.
we felt it was important to do a part 2 with Tannen because, to be very transparent with you, we got off on a tangent in the last episode where... multiple tangents. We talked a lot about coaching, and I think that was important. There were some good lessons in there.
Yep.
But we also started talking about some social media things that had to be cut and edited out because there was, look, I'll just be real, some language that wasn't appropriate for the Base Business Podcast. And subsequently, we needed to come back, revisit everything because we want to dive into the business. We want to dive into the strategy. We want to help the growing entrepreneur find a way to succeed. Sound good?
Sounds good. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Go Team USA. You're the second person, actually, that we've done a part 2 with.
Oh.
Or I shouldn't even say a part 2. The other one wasn't a part 2. You're the second person we've had on twice.
Okay, let's go.
The other was Jacob Johnson.
Yep.
Now, Jacob was on my very first episode back in like 2022, 2023. And then he did an episode with me last month. So
what's his, something ginger? What is this?
Yeah, the Financial Ginger.
The Financial Ginger. I think it's great.
Yeah. He's crushing it lately. So, T-Bird.
Yes, sir.
Dog. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
And on short turnaround, this is week over week at this point.
Yeah.
Now, my
what do you want to talk about?
Secret goal here, we're going to dive in on the business. We're going to dive in on your business, especially.
Okay.
We're going to expose you. Just teasing. But yeah. Cool. It's a weird start because normally I come in with a hook.
Yeah, sure.
And then I'm like, tell us about yourself. Yeah. Introduce yourself. You already did all that.
This is a 2.0, so this is almost like a second date.
So it is. It's a second date. For the homies tuning in on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast, and you didn't catch part 1, Tannen, why don't you just introduce yourself again? Tell us who you are, what you do, why it matters.
Sure. So I am Tannen Bodell. I'm a real estate agent here in Utah. Been in real estate pretty much my whole adult life, and been along the Wasatch Front is where I primarily have been, practicing business. And I love Utah. I love everything that Utah stands for, and what a better place to raise a family and to be a part of cool community as Utah. So
that's why I'm here.
Yep.
Okay, dude. On the first episode, part 1, you said, in a perfect world, you enjoy working with people who are maybe buying their second house.
Yeah.
Because they've gone through the process.
Or third,
they're a little bit
or
more
yeah.
knowledgeable, right? Tell me a little bit about who you ideally serve and the value that you typically see them receive working with you as opposed to going with like a homie agent or something
sure.
like that.
So great question. So typically what I've seen is with a homie agent, and there's others out there, they became
standard for a while.
Very quick. It came on super quick and heavy and left just as fast.
Yeah, are they still around at all?
Not very much. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I rarely see them now.
Yeah, because they didn't provide any value. Their business model was very short-sighted, very short-lived. And theirs was very transactional based. And that's where I like to be a little bit different.
They are still out there. I just pulled them up on my phone.
Yeah, they're definitely out there. They
homie agents who care.
Allegedly.
Care.
I got to be careful. This is where I can't get into too hot water. But yeah, they a little bit different than my business model. For me, mine is about the relationship and the building of that. And I want to work with people who understand and value what I bring to the table, and my expertise and my knowledge. Got raised in a family of, my dad was a real estate appraiser. owned his own business for over 50 years.
Well, and that's how you got into real estate, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. So I did very, long ago through high school and college, I was doing the very basic parts of a real estate appraiser or appraisal. And then started becoming a trainee appraiser through college, did that. And I loved it, right? I love the houses. I love seeing all the cool things of houses, all the cool ideas that people can come up with. But then you also see the other side, the hoarders and everything else. And so it was just really fascinating.
Hoarders.
Yeah. And it made me realize that, I and my wife, Kylie, and I prefer to have our home mimic as closely to a model home as possible. It's a very difficult task with young kids, but she's done a fantastic job with that. And for us, it's okay. How can we continue to serve and help people and model ourselves around that?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that I love is when people know that I'm bringing them the reality. Whether it's good, bad, the ugly, it's just like, this is what the facts are telling us. And what do we want to do with that?
Well, something that's pretty unique about you as well, in my opinion, is that you have the appraiser background.
Yeah. So
when you mentioned bringing people into reality, you're already like, when you go approach somebody, hey, this is where we can sell the house. This is where, the market should be on this. This is what I'm seeing in the comps. There's a little bit of a higher level of thoroughness to that and expertise than a typical agent.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of agents, and this is where you want to double check with yours. A lot of them started like selling alarm systems, pest control, solar, that sort of thing. And now magically they're an expert in real estate. And what's fascinating about that is that it's just like, you're a good door knocker, which is good, right? Door knocking is important. It's very crucial in business, depends on the type of business. But what was interesting is that you need to find out what their background is.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this? What does that look like? And those are questions that the general public just generally don't ask.
Yeah.
Is where's your background? Tell me, educate me on how long have you been in this business? And that's where I like to be a little bit different, is I have that ability to look at something and say, based on what I feel like, this is what I think it should sell for. I mean, we've dealt with that, right? On a number of transactions where this is what the data is telling us. Most of the time that matches, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think for us, it's one of those things. It's like, I love when I have clients that actually can pay attention to what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
And they'll actually listen and adhere to it. And they'll, do something with it instead of just a transactional agents more come in. This is what I'm going to do. And off we go. And they don't care about the relationship long-term effects.
Well, so let me ask this. What's the, because now you got like ChatGPT and AI and stuff like that. That adds pressure on a lot of people. What's the benefit that somebody gets approaching an agent versus like, oh, I'm just going to self-represent. I can do it on my own now because the AI will just tell me how to do it. Right.
So I actually was introduced a week or two ago from an article in the New York Times where a guy tried it, and he successfully sold it on his own. I think it was in New York State where he did do it on his own. And he, when he told his wife, hey, I'm going to do it through this, she's just like, what are you doing? And he's like, it was worth it. Yes. But from what he said is he was worried, what was that exposure that I was missing?
Oh yeah.
And that's the crucial part, right? Is what does that look like? Where if you're just putting it on Facebook Marketplace, if you're just putting it on, your local, advertising, what does that look like versus, or Zillow or anything else? The hard part is that, yes, homes are sold on Zillow, but there's more homes that are sold on the local MLS. That's where like the gold standard is, if that makes sense. And so you're not casting as big of a net as you could be.
Well, and I can't just get on there and post on the local MLS, right? You have to have an agent do that.
Yes. Because they want to be able to control that content where not everybody's on a local news board or whatever else. People can just vomit whatever statistics they want versus everything that's in the MLS, has been verified. It's good. It's well sourced.
Sure.
It's not just, I think my house is 3,000 square feet. In all reality, it's 2. I've got 7 bedrooms, and in reality it's only 4 or whatever. And so it's as good of information, as accurate as information as you could possibly get.
Absolutely. So. Okay. I like that. So tell me a little bit about the process, right? This is, somebody wants to come, they approach you to work with you. What does it look like for them to become a client? How does a typical process go? I know that every deal is a little bit different, but kind of walk us through what's it look like hiring Tannen Bodell as a real estate agent.
Sure. So usually, for me, if we go down the pathway of like a typical referral, is someone will call me and they'll say, "Hey, Tannen, I was referred to you by so and so. They told me that you did a fantastic job listing and selling my brother's house, my sister's house, my cousin's house, my coworker, whatever. We are looking at buying a home, or we are looking at selling our home and buying something else. We're having a kid that is moving out of the house. He's going to college, and they need to, we need to shrink, downsize our home. Is that something you can help with?" And so, absolutely is always the answer, right? Mm-hmm. I can help you. And if it's something that I can help them with, then yes. If not, then I'll get them connected with someone that actually can help them.
Yeah, you could still help them. You just are helping them with a connection.
And then we go through the interview process. I find out what's important to them, and I find out what their ultimate goal is. And then I go through and lay out the steps, what it's going to take to get to that goal. And I think having a clear roadmap of, okay, we got to get you approved through a lender, and we got to get your house ready to sell, and we got to get the home ready, and and you just essentially go through those things if it needs it, and then you get it laid out, you get it ready to go, and then we start either looking through homes, put it up for sale, whatever it might be. It's a little bit of an experience, a little bit of a journey, but and some people's houses, dude, they need a lot of love, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting.
They need someone to tell them that they need a lot of love because they've been living in it, so they don't know.
They don't know. And that's the hard part, is you kind of have to tightrope this.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm not trying to offend you,
but your house stinks.
Your house, you got to replace the carpet and paint your walls.
And not let your dog, doo on the floor. So, or cats in the house. Cats are the worst. Their urine can really do a number on a house. But
don't you have a cat?
I do not.
Oh, okay, good.
for that reason. Yeah. But yeah, go through that process, get them educated on, okay. And some people have so much furniture in their house where you're like, okay, we got this room really is a big room, but you have 13 pieces of furniture in here. We need to downsize.
We're going to drop that down to 5. A nice 5-piece set.
We're gonna go with a quick $5. Choose your 5. For real, they'll have like every piece of the wall
covered by a couch, a table,
a chair, a nightstand, or whatever. Yeah. And so when we've seen that so many times where it's like, okay, your agent didn't do you any favors, because people want to know. Vacant is kind of a tricky thing, right? If there's no furniture in there, it can be one of two things. It could be really good, because then people can start imagining their stuff in the home and where they're going to put their couch and their beds and, yada, yada. But then there's also the other side of the coin where if you have too much stuff, then people are like, it's like right in their face, and they can't see the room for what it is, or see the house for what it is. And so there's this delicate balance to make sure that it's showing it the best possible way it can.
Sure. So one of the things that people ask about a lot, they bring it up in the comments on the show, they ask in coaching, they want to know about the best way to get leads. How do you get people into your business? And we talked about this previously, but you just mentioned referrals. So I wanted to bring it up and ask.
Yeah.
As far as lead generation, what's working for you? What's not working? Is it referral based primarily?
Great question. So that's something I've tried to take a look at since your last mastermind is, and I've had coaches in the past where it's like, okay, a good business, if you can, really has multiple foundational structural pieces as lead flow.
Correct.
And if referral is just that one, okay, that's fine. But what are your other pillars that you're going to be, stabilizing your business on? And so for me, one of the things that I've been doing is doing some local advertising with I'm trying to think of the communities, like I was on a board, right? I think I told you the Westlake Youth Football Board, and just being involved in the community. I love
great networking.
Yes. I love my community because that's where I think, if I can help people and serve people, then it'll just naturally evolve into, oh, what do you do? And how does it, it's just the conversation start.
Correct.
And so I felt like, hey, if this is a byproduct by me serving and getting those additional referrals, getting those additional leads, what better way to continue to serve people? And it's just an awesome byproduct. So for me, I recommend that, just get involved in the community, do something, right? Whether it's like, I'm going down to the soup kitchen, I'm going, and there's many donation centers all over the country. What can I do to go get involved in the community? Go to local churches and ask them, what can I do to help? And any activities you can do just to start getting involved and getting your name out there. Another thing that I'm starting to do is trying to be more of a hyper-focused local expert. And so anytime there's a new business that opens up, I go to their Facebook page and I'll comment like, hey, welcome to the community. Is there anybody else that you feel like I should be connected with that is also, similar to what you're doing? And they will start introducing you to their contacts. Yeah. And so those are the other two additional foundational pieces that I found are very good in my business. The hard part is there's many that will pay Zillow for leads or pay Realtor.com or whatever it is. They'll pay these additional third-party sources. But the problem is they don't know you. And so then you're one of thousands and thousands of others out there. And so they've got to vet you and they've got to go through that. Yeah. Yes. And you got to go prove your worth versus if they already know you because you've been serving, they know your character, they know who you are and what you stand for.
Absolutely.
Then that's where the relationship just naturally evolves into, doing business together.
So in my last episode with Cody Barnum, he's the guy that runs Slick Detailing.
Yeah.
By the way, now that you got a cool car, hit him up.
I will.
Hit Cody up. King of carpet lines. You know when you get into a clean car and it's like,
see the lines.
But when it's like really clean, you don't have the same energy drain that you do when you get into like a dirty car.
Good point.
Anyways, it just was a thought.
Yeah.
But you got a fancy new car. It's cool. You want to take care of it. Cody's the guy.
I like that.
But I was just talking to him about ways to organically grow businesses right now. And the two that I'm seeing as the most effective are first, your social media. How are you growing and expanding that? And second, the network marketing. I think those two actually play together really well because they might see you in your service. They might see you in the community, engage with you, know you, get to know you that way. But when they also see you on the social media side, you're just constantly in their mind.
Yeah.
You're at the forefront of anytime they have a problem, they go to pull out their phone. What are they going to do? They're going to hop on social media to ask for a referral anyways. But if they just, boom, Tannen's content's there. I see Tannen every day. Oh, you're just in their mind. You're Tannen. You're there.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. Johnny on the spot. So we like to, I've talked about the system before. I think I've told you the system before. I can't remember if we did it in part 1. So I'm going to cover the base on part 2. The authority engine. So I call it the 4-piston system to build trust and authority at scale. First is omnipresence. For me, for example, I post on every platform every single day, multiple times a day. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, right? Because that's where my audience primarily is. It's what the platforms they use. So I need to be there so that they see me. Then I do the long form content. I told you I do at least one podcast a week. Most of the time I'm filming more than one because, there's weeks that I'll be gone. I got to book it out, but we film at least one long form piece every week. The long form content is where the trust is built because they see how you think, how you solve problems, how you help other people. They start to understand who you are a little bit better. So they build a lot of trust with the long form. Then we use short form content to amplify the long form. So
little snippets.
Correct. We can actually take the long form, clip it up, chop it into shorts, reels, clips, but also we'll do like talking head, educational videos. We'll do like lifestyle content. So some other different modalities perhaps, but the goal of those is always to drive people back to the long form because again, that's where the trust is built. The last piston of this is the consistency and cadence.
Okay.
All of the algorithms right now, like universally across all social media, they want to learn your patterns of life. What I mean by that is like an animal has patterns of life. You get up, you walk this trail, whatever. For example, we as humans, we're animals. We have patterns of life. Instagram knows that I'm going to be on my phone at 8 p.m. every night because I sit on my couch and I start to scroll. So it wants to test what content will be effective with me, right? And it's easier for it to test that when there's consistency across the board. So it will send a piece of content out, see how long you hold somebody's attention, how consistently you hold their attention. Like if they are on their phone every night at 8 p.m., I bet when you go look at this, check this out. If you have a pattern where you're always on your phone see if you see content from the same people around the same times. Not necessarily the same like 8:01 p.m. every day. Yeah. But like you might at 8 p.m. when you open up your phone, see Parker McCumber's content on there. And then the next night at 8 p.m. when you're on your phone, you might see another piece of Parker McCumber content on there.
Cool.
Now, it does that intentionally because it helps the algorithm then learn, how do you hold someone's attention? How do you consistently get and hold their attention?
Night after night or day after day.
And that helps it learn how to best serve your content and who to serve your content to, who's resonating with it. So you actually get rewarded by having the consistency piece. So we put those 4 things together. That's the authority engine. That's the social media driver for us to consistently put out content that brings in leads.
Got them.
We pair that with network marketing. That's what your superpower is, the relationships that you're building as you get out into the community and as you serve. For example, this week, in the last week, I've done 3 car shows, car meets car shows. But I'm going out, I'm shaking hands. I did a book signing at the one on Wednesday night. I was out in the Vineyard Car Show for their city days, yesterday. I was yesterday night. But people are seeing me, shaking my hands. I'm talking to them, telling them what I do, who I am. They're following me on social media. All of it just feeds in because now I get those networks built. They come to my social media. Now they're going to be served my content. They're going to develop more trust with me. They go hand in hand, in my opinion.
Win-win.
Then, of course, there's paid ads. Like my background was paid ads. I love paid ads, stuff like that. But
do you feel like that's still working?
Yeah, you just have to stay on top of what is working, if that makes sense. Yesterday, I met with Russ Warner from Ghost Longboards.
Yep.
He was telling me, last summer, his ads got killed. Like he went from, maybe $7 a lead to $70 a lead type thing. Why? I'll tell you why. Meta, Facebook and Instagram, released their Andromeda update. Now, if you're not actually paying constant attention to ads and algorithms and the updates that are associated with those, you're going to miss this stuff, right? Meta releases the Andromeda update. The Andromeda update puts a heavy emphasis on creative variation. So now it's not about can you launch an ad and it's a good ad so it knocks it out of the park anymore. It's can you launch 100 ads and approach the problem, product, or service from 100 different variations.
How many different angles? Wow.
Yeah, how many different angles can you approach it from? And then let the algorithm split test all of those things to find the best creatives. So it's not about humans presenting what they think is the best anymore. It's about just feed the machine volume.
You're throwing everything you can at it, and then the machine will tell you.
Do its thing.
Yeah, yeah.
There's also now benefits for like the more you allow their AI to customize your content. For example, like I can go post an ad now, right? I'll have a primary text. It'll have a creative picture, video, whatever. It'll have a headline, a description. You actually get rewarded now for drafting those, but then allowing Facebook to modify them based on what its AI thinks is going to work.
Wow.
In real time. So you can like pre-approve
a bunch of different ones,
a bunch of different variations, and it will split test all those little variations on target audience people or people that it thinks is target audience to find the right creatives. Now, think about it in this sense too. If you launch one ad and do that, you only have that many chances to succeed. If you launch 100 ads and it has variations on all of those, you really just launched 5,000 chances to succeed.
Wow. Just open it up.
So it's all about the creative variation and volume right now.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't know that. When would that take place?
Last summer.
Okay. Makes sense. Why?
Now, obviously, there's tweaks and changes since.
Yeah.
But that was a killer. I mean, the two big ones that have been killers in paid ads in the last decade, you had the iOS 14 update. That one, when was that? 2019, maybe? Yeah, that one crushed Facebook and Instagram advertising. It hurt YouTube. It hurt Google. I mean, essentially, Apple just stopped sharing information the same way.
That was the one that you saw the big commercials where it was like, where it said ask to follow or for the app to follow, and you could shut that off, right? Is that what you're talking about?
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was a killer for ad accounts. And then the other one has been this past year, the Andromeda update the end of last summer. That one just destroyed people. Because if you had an account and you had something, maybe, because what happens was a lot of people would get one good ad. And that one good ad would generate all their leads.
Okay.
And then Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever said, hey, one's not enough. We're tired of showing the exact same ad to everyone. You need to have more.
Turn it up.
And it wasn't that you need to spend more. So don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
It was that you needed to add variety. You needed to add different messaging. You needed to add different angles, perspective, right?
Chop it up.
Yeah. So now, for example, I come into the studio 2 days ago. I film 11 ads in the study room. And then I come into this room, the Rook room. I film 11 ads in the Rook room. It's the same 11 ads, just a different background setting. And I take those same 11 ads, I film them in the lounge room. Okay, so I've got 33 ads, all a different creative because they're all a different background. Then I can take those 33 different ads. I can clip them with testimonials. I can clip them with B-roll. And then I've got, if I do one that's just the text, or that's just what I read, the teleprompter and all that. And then I have one that's clipped with B-roll. And then I have one that's clipped with testimonials. And then I've got one that's clipped with testimonials and B-roll. I've got 4 ads for that one that I filmed. So now that one that I filmed worth 4, those 11 are 44. These 11 were another 44. Those 11 are 144. And now I've got 122 advertisements filmed in the course of 45 minutes in the studio.
That's awesome. Just feeding the machine.
Yeah, feed the machine. But see, that's the thing is that's what the algorithm wants. That's what the Andromeda system wants.
And if you don't know that.
So if you give it what it wants, you're more likely to succeed because it's like, this guy's giving us what we want. It's helping our system. So we're going to help that. Yeah,
that's cool. Okay.
Feed each other.
Yeah. So what you're saying is everyone needs to come and get a Rookery subscription.
Yeah.
Come here.
I didn't say that, but I'm glad you did.
I think it's important.
It's dude, it's just
making me feel like I got to do it.
It's a no-brainer in my opinion at this point. Like when we took over the studio, it was just a podcast studio. They would charge rooms hourly, or they would charge for just the videography, right? On when we took it over, we started expanding that. So then we added the clipping service, right? We'll do your shorts, reels, TikToks, YouTube shorts, whatever. You film your long form. We do the video editing, the audio engineering. We do the clips, the reels, the shorts, all that stuff. Okay, well, what's the next problem?
Yeah.
We added that aspect, but what's next? Okay, well, what's next is you have to be consistent when it comes to the posting, right? Because I'm just reverse engineering my own authority engine.
Yeah.
You got to be consistent with it. So, okay, we've got the software, an enterprise, subscription for software that we can manage people's accounts. We can run their content calendars. We can schedule your posts for you, draft them, so you don't ever have to worry about it, but you're still getting the leads generated from the authority engine. All you have to do is find the time to come in and film for an hour. Pretty consistently, if you can film for an hour, we can get you 31 clips, real shorts out of that.
Jeez.
Right? I think it's better if you film, over the course of the month, at least the 4 pieces of long form content, because then you get one long form piece every month that can go up on YouTube. But if you get an hour, we can give you daily social media content. If you get 4 hours, you're going to get a weekly long form and daily social media content.
That's awesome.
And it doesn't have to be actually 4 hours. I mean, you think of a long form, it could be 4 20-minute episodes of a show, of a podcast or something you're teaching, right? So if I'm a real estate agent, I'm thinking to myself, because this is just good practice in developing your business, right? You want to work with your ideal client, obviously. Yep. How do you show your ideal client that you can help them? Bring them on a show, man. Talk to them. And then even if they don't do business with you, the people who see that are the ideal client, oh, hey, I relate to that guy. I relate to this conversation. I understand how they're thinking. Like, it just speaks to them on a whole different level.
That's a good idea. I like that.
It's a connection. So,
so you're saying bring past clients on, interview them, talk to them.
Past, present, and perspective.
Yeah, I like that.
Because, I mean, newsflash, that's what I do. Not always, but like I bring on people that I've coached before.
Yeah.
People that I would coach or people that I am coaching, because they all have a little bit of a different perspective, but their perspective talks to the people that I want to work with. And so like if I, for example, Cody, if I help him overcome his fear of hiring an employee and training a team, and he hires an employee and trains a team, and he gets more revenue, more money as a result of that, somebody who's struggling with that problem can watch that episode and say, oh, Parker could help me with that too.
Yep.
Boom, prospective client.
Building value, building trust.
Correct. Because you show how you think, how you solve problems, how you help people. That's it, man.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
It's a good system. We, the beauty of it is too, is it's just cheap. I mean, I don't want to say it's cheap in like, it's cheap. It's affordable. I mean,
yeah, it's not chintzy.
Yeah. Like you come in, do a walk-in episode for $300. We've cut out doing the, like single camera angle, take your raw footage, because people would get frustrated. They come in here and they film, but they wouldn't get our audio engineering, our audio or our video and audio engineering. And then they're like, well, why does it look, why am I so white? Why am I whatever? Because you just bought raw footage, man. Like if you want it to be, but so I'm like, I don't want to deal with those clients anyways. Okay. They're hassling us about cheap stuff all the time. Yeah. So we just said, you know what? It's a flat rate. You're going to come in. If you want to do a walk-in with us, it's $300 an hour. You get all 3 camera angles though. That's important because then you get you can have the clips. It's more dynamic, right?
Yep.
And we include obviously the audio engineering, the video engineering. We will do the editing for the episode, all that kind of stuff. So that's just a really high quality finished product. And then we don't have to deal with the complaints on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah. Just make it easier, make it streamlined.
So then, okay, the next step for us was the memberships. If you do 3 hours, essentially that's what the membership comes down to, is you pay for 3 hours, you get the 4th one free. And then the tier above that is we add in, the clips, the reels, the shorts, the social media management. Then the tier above that is doubled everything. So it's 8 hours in studio. It's 31 clips, real shorts. And the content calendar and all that. But then at that tier, we will come to you, wherever your workplace is, whatever you're doing, and film like on the job. So for example, Tannen is a real estate agent. Tannen wants to come get the $2,000 a month membership here. We will come to the houses. We'll make the content for you on site. Right. We do the same thing with like if you're a fast food restaurant, not necessarily fast food, a restaurant. Right. We come out to you. Right. You want to see us. We want to get your menu. We want to capture your plate. We want to do a high quality production that actually adds value to your social media. Because somebody coming in here talking about, I make the best cheeseburgers in studio isn't necessarily the best way to sell your cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
We need to see it on site.
Correct.
So fresh off the grill, it's steaming, it's hot, it's fresh.
At that tier of our social media management, we will go to your work site, your job site, wherever your business is. It's obviously you're coming in, you can use the studio, but we'll come to you. We'll get the stuff that's actually going to convert. We do a lot of research into your market, what's working in that content categories right now. We help you do the scripting, the producing, like everything. So it's just it's a freaking no brainer, especially when I look back. In my own life, I started getting coaching clients because I went all in on the podcast last year. Like I did an episode every week for the first 6 months. And at that point I started getting
referrals.
Well, not just referrals, like, I've told you a story about Marina, right? The Green Edge CFO girl. She's a bookkeeper and a fractional CFO.
Okay.
So last summer, she sends me a message. She's like, hey, Parker, every time I open my phone, I see your content, whether it's on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. She's like, I think it's a sign you need to coach me. She's like, so I don't know what that looks like, but can you be my coach? I'm like, sure, let's hop on a call. She's like, great. I don't need you to just sell me. I'm sold. Like, let's just do this.
Well, that's cool.
And then like a week or two later, I got another one. And a week or two later, I got another one. And I'm like, holy crap, something's working now. So reverse engineer. That's how I come up with the authority engine. But I'm like, I got to go all in on the podcast. So that's where the studio comes from. And I just jumped into it.
Yeah.
But now the podcasting fuels all of my business, the coaching and consulting side. The beauty of it is the coaching and consulting side also fuels the podcast side.
Yeah.
Now we got other guys like, Jacob Johnson. We were talking about him a little bit earlier, the financial ginger. He starts, filming in here, goes into the coaching program. He left me a great video testimonial. In his first month, he gets a half a dozen new clients. Boom. Now he's got, reels and stuff like that were getting millions of views because he just stuck with the system and the system works. It's Joe Pinkney, massage therapist. You might have met him at the October Mastermind. Yeah. He's like, dude, I started doing this. I got 25 new clients in the first month.
Jeez.
But I'm like, okay, stop and think about that. What's 25 new clients in the first month look like? Yeah. He's like, well, most of them, come in, they do a 90-minute session. I charge $180 for that. Okay. So I'm like, boom, right there on the average. Let's look at the
180 times.
Yeah. Let's look at the quick maths on the calculator, because I can't do that math in my head. 180 times 25 new clients. It's an extra $4,500 that month. So already pays for itself. Yeah. Then he's like, well, 12 of those people go on memberships with me. So they do 1 or 2 massages per month.
Wow.
They get a 10% discount for that. But let's say it's only 1, right? So 180 minus 10% is 162 times 12. Each one of those people now becomes an additional $2,000 a year times the 12 clients that go on that membership. That's $24,000 a year that he makes as a result of that. So I'm like, dude, it's a massage therapist. Okay. Let's think about it in the real estate agent lens.
Yeah.
If you get 1 client per month,
yeah,
what's your average commission these days?
The average price point in Utah right now is like $530 to $550. Okay. So times 3%, that takes you to, what is that, 15, 16, 17-ish thousand?
Times 3%?
Yeah.
Yeah, 16,000.
Yeah.
15,900.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you paid for a year subscription at the Rookery with 1 client.
Yeah.
So that's the theory behind it, is how do we price it so competitively that we can, 1, still offer a high level of service, but 2, almost guarantee that it will pay for itself for these people.
Yeah.
That's the whole model. That's my model anyways.
Yeah. Well, good pro quo for you, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and I told you, my theory's always been monetize everything. I'm giving away all my free secrets here in the episode. I monetize everything. So podcast studio is also warm leads for my coaching clients. Coaching clients become warm leads for the podcast studio.
Feeds the machine.
Just feeds the machine.
Which then feeds the machine.
Yeah. So it's a cool setup. So we talked about your leads.
Yep.
We talked about referrals. We talked about the organic and the networking.
Yep.
And we talked about your I don't want to say the back end, but the process already of working with you.
Yeah. Let's
talk about the strategy moving forward. So how does Tannen Bodell become the #1 real estate agent in Utah?
I think for me, the #1, the hard part is when I think about it, I think of all the teams, right? And the brokerage that I'm with is really big about building teams and a team structure and what that looks like and how to develop it. And
how does that look between agent to agent?
What do you mean specifically?
Well, I mean, like you got a couple real estate agents hanging out in the office, right?
Yep.
But all of you are competing to represent.
It is. Yeah. We're all fighting for the same,
you all want the same thing.
business. Yes. The cool thing is that the idea is there's enough to go around.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I love that. No scarcity mindset.
Yeah, it's we've talked about this with some of our coaching endeavors. But yeah, it's one of those things that from what I can tell, it's okay. Identify what I want, right? The old Franklin Covey, begin with the end in mind, right? Yeah. What do I want? Do I want to be the most elaborate, the biggest, the best, and the everything? No, but I do want to be the best.
Yeah. The best at what you do.
Correct. And does that mean I'm kicking out thousands and thousands of transactions every year? No. But I want my clients to know that I take care of them. Excuse me. And what does that mean? What does that constitute? And that's where I'm learning that can't all be on me. And so that's where I've started to have my transaction coordinator help with that because I know that I can't do everything.
Let me ask about that as a clarifying thing.
Yeah.
So what's the perks, like say for a real estate agent being in a brokerage? What does the brokerage actually offer as opposed to you being a standalone agent?
For one, it has in my level of where I'm at, I'm part of a brokerage that is called Keller Williams, and they have a club called the Masters of Real Estate, or the More Club. It's the top 20% of the team
the Masters of Real Estate.
Yeah, and it's the top 20% of each office gets to be in that club, and then they have different levels of it and everything else. But for me, going through that, I said, okay, what can I do to continue to add and develop and to build? And that's the nice thing is there's even still with me being in real estate, as long as I still run into roadblocks. I still run into things that I've never seen before. And so to be able to tap into others who are also in the top percentile of real estate agents, that's important to me, right? To have that bond, that connection. And so we have that where I can tap into, hey, this investor is running into this. What do you think? Or I'm having a hard time with selling a house. What does this look like? Who can I contact? What is that? What do I need to do? So having that expertise, that knowledge, that camaraderie is huge. But also depends on the brokerage. Some offer really, really good training. Mm-hmm. And so if you're wanting to add members to your team, that brokerage will provide additional training for them, whether it's videos or social media or whatever it is that they can help promote their business and learn how to actually do a real estate transaction. Because a lot of people are like, I don't want to go to jail. How do I make sure that I don't screw this thing up? And how do I make sure that this goes as smoothly as possible? And so that's at least why I had stayed there for so long and why I'm still there, is that they have that support. They have that education, that training piece, because if you're not constantly involved, and the other thing is they have weekly, they call team meetings is what they're called, where it's like, okay, here's all the homes that just hit the market in our office. What questions do we have? What do you need help with? And then you have a room of anywhere from 50 to 100 people that are offering their help, their support, their knowledge. It's kind of like the
mastermind world. Yes. I like that.
And so that's the nice thing is, and then you can lean on them for feedback. And, and I've told you about that, how I've tapped into that multiple times for the transactions we've worked on. And so it's important to me is to be able to have that, yes, I've been in the business for a while, but there's always more to learn, right? It seems like the older I get, the more I realize I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And which is, a blessing, I think, right? Because it's like, okay, I need to lean on those that are actually experts in their field, and me not be a jack of all trades. Yeah. I just need to be a master of one. And how do I be a master of one? And that's where for me, it's like, just communicate, talk with people who are masters in their specific fields, right? I've come and talked to you about this, right? What can I do for social media? What can I do to start doing these things?
Yeah.
And these are things that I'm starting to build and learn and develop. And so, I think that for me, that's one of the important things as to the behind a brokerage and finding a good brokerage to be with.
Right on. I'm scheming a little bit here.
You're always scheming.
I'm always scheming. Look, but my scheme, I'll tell you, if I haven't told you before, I've said it on the show before. My grand evil scheme, ultimate evil scheme, is that if I could help somebody make so much money that it's a no-brainer for them to stay on with me, all of us are winning.
Yeah. Win-win,
that's
baby.
My evil scheme. I just want to help people make so much money they don't mind paying me to be their coach or consultant or anything like that. Right? So that's the theory. The brokerage offers support.
Yeah.
The guy that owns your brokerage, the guys that own your brokerage live on my street.
Yep.
I know them. At least one of them voted for me as city council.
Did the other one not?
I don't know.
Oh, I was like, I need to crack some knuckles. Which one was it? I know both of you.
He probably did, but I don't know.
I'm sure he did.
But I don't know. I'm curious. Science of Scaling, Dr. Ben Hardy. I think we mentioned that on part 1. Set an unrealistic goal. How do you achieve that goal in 12 months to 18 months as opposed to 10 years? Well, you've got to change your model. You've got to exponentially grow, right? I'm thinking the next net benefit for me maybe is partnerships with organizations for the studio. For example, if I can give Club Paddock a deal or something like that, all their members can come in here, film. They get, a part, maybe it's set of $300 an hour or whatever. We'll give they pay for all their members to get an hour for $200. And then it's like, okay, well, I just got an extra, 2,000, 2,500, whatever.
Yeah.
For the members that are coming in. I wonder actually if I could do a partnership with like the brokerage or something like that. I'm just scheming here because you got all these people that need social media support.
The film.
Yeah. Instead of charging $1,000 a month membership, can we, work a deal with the brokerage or something that would be like, hey, we give each of your agents $400 a month. Come in, get your 4 hours or whatever. I don't know what that looks like. I'd have to price it out and stuff, but I'm like, that might be the next step in progression.
That'd be really cool.
This.
Yeah.
Because then we get more people in. We also get more proof of concept out. Helps us grow. Helps them. Win-wins.
They get more clients.
Yeah.
Which then in turn keeps them hot here.
Client machine is so good. Yeah. I'm all in on it. Okay, dude. We've talked about, in part 1, we talked a lot more about you. Part 2 has been more business focused.
Yep.
Last time we talked about coaching. We talked about working together as coaches. We talked about your background, getting into real estate. Part 2, we've talked about what's it look like working with Tannen Bodell? How does that process look? We talked about your expertise and the value that you bring to the table. Now we've talked about your leads. We've talked about networking. We've talked about social media. We've talked about podcasting. We've talked about referrals. If you could give a piece of advice to somebody who wanted to go into business for themselves, what would you tell them?
Do it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Just do it. Don't wait around, right? That doesn't mean quit everything you're doing. Don't quit your 9 to 5 and just give up on consistent income. But just start somewhere. Whatever it is, just start it.
So let me tell you a story about that.
Yeah.
I grew my coaching business really 2024 into early 2025. Actually, it was even through the end of 2025. I mean, I can think about this. One of my mentors, Russell Brunson, had told me that I needed to learn events. And he was like, that's the next stage of your business growth and your community building. You need to master events. So 9 to 5, I'm working in the e-com business. I'm going and coaching football out of Westlake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running for
City Council.
What time do I have left to learn how to do events and run my coaching and consulting business? 8 p.m. to midnight, baby. So 8 p.m. to midnight, I'm building that. I'm working on the event. I'm getting all the stuff taken care of.
Yep.
There's a way. Now, most people aren't as busy as me. Most people don't flood their calendar like I flood my calendar.
Yeah.
So if you're working a 9 to 5, don't think for a second that you don't have time to do more if you want to try to do more.
Yep.
Right? What are you doing between 5:30 p.m., 6 p.m. when you get home? And when you go to sleep, you're going to eat dinner. Yeah, you're going to spend some time with the wife and kids. After the wife and kids go to bed, after the kids go to bed, grind. Now, I'm not a big grind set advocator, but you're never going to achieve anything if you don't ever build anything.
Yep.
So you got to go in and start somewhere. And eventually you get to the point where maybe you're making enough money that you could step away from the 9 to 5. The moment you've got enough proof of concept or that you've built your business to the point where it could replace the 9 to 5, I say that's the point where you jump ship.
When it's an equal amount?
At least. I think because you might be able to recognize as you're building it, hey, if I jump ship and I just go all in on this, I will surpass my 9 to 5 quickly. And at that point, go for it.
Yeah.
Like ditch the 9 to 5. But if you get to the point where they're equal in income, but you're only side hustling on the one, you have no excuse to not quit the 9 to 5 and go in on that. And I would actually argue that you have an obligation to yourself and to your family to do that.
Yeah.
Because it means you have the capacity to grow it more, to earn more, to take care of your family at a better, higher level. Think about it like this, man. I would have never started coaching if I wasn't making money, enough money that I could leave the business for a few hours every day.
Yeah.
So because I earned more, I was able to give back to my community. And not only give back to the community in that regard and develop young leaders and young athletes, I'm able to donate to charities more. I'm able to volunteer. Like my community, my family, my world is a better place because I made more money. I would imagine that if your business wasn't at a level where you were comfortable to like step away to coach football, to coach your boys or something like that, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So your family, community, your participation on the Westlake Youth Football Board, all of that stuff stems from the fact that you went in on this, started making enough money that you could enrich the lives of the people around you.
Yeah.
So when you get to that spot where it's obvious that going in on that helps you earn more and make the world a better place, you have a moral and ethical obligation, in my opinion, to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And the question is why do you think some don't?
Well, entrepreneurship's not for everybody.
Do you think some just like don't have an appetite for it?
Yes.
Or they're like, I'm good to sit in the back seat. I'm good to.
So there's a variety of reasons here that let's talk about them.
Yeah.
I think on the surface level, there's a high level of risk.
Yeah.
Right. There's a high level of risk. At my level now, right? Am I going to sacrifice everything to go all in on something else? Ooh, it's hard.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty comfortable. Now, keep in mind, I'm always building something new.
Yeah.
Coaching programs growing, right? I'm taking on more clients. I'm looking to take on more. If you see this episode, give me a call. But okay, me starting my business as a student, going to UVU, living in grandma's basement, I had less to lose. And I recognize that than a lot of people. Granted, I had nothing. So it wasn't like I had resources to build on.
Yeah.
Let me reframe this a little bit. Everyone has benefits that are unique to them in their position. Everyone has cons that are unique to them in their position. So you shouldn't compare across, people, right? Because Parker starting his business looks different than Tannen Bodell starting his business.
Yep.
Both of us had a different background. Both of us had different experiences. Both of us had different family situations, finance situations, etc. Okay, so that out of the way. Why don't more people do it? A lot of people don't have the appetite for risk. And there's an inherently high level of risk in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Right? You could lose everything.
Do you think that's why so many people stay in their 9 to 5? They go and they're an assistant. They're working the front desk at whatever. They're an accountant. They're whatever because it's comfortable
and stable.
Yeah.
And that stability and that comfort. Now, okay, think about this.
It's like a false comfort, though.
In your hierarchy of needs, you have at the most foundational level, safety. You need safety.
Yeah.
So the stability of a job, the benefits associated with it, maybe you get healthcare or something like that. That's part of that safety block. So people always chase that first.
Yeah.
After you have safety, then people can start to look for comfort. After you have comfort, then people can start to look for play, enrichment activities.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a progression. They have to get the safety piece first. And entrepreneurship does not provide the safety piece. For me, in my example, I said I was living in grandma's basement. I'm on student loans, going to UVU.
Not a lot to lose. Yeah.
Not a lot to lose. But I had the safety of knowing at least that I was already at rock bottom. I had nothing. Oh man, this doesn't work out. Grandma throws me out of her house. Okay, I'll move in with a friend. I'll sleep on a couch, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, the big safety play for me, I just posted about it yesterday, actually, was Emmy. My wife, fiance at the time, she's a school teacher. Big baller, making that cash money, 30 grand a year she gets paid. That 30 grand a year was the money that we used to go on dates. That was the money for us to have activities, whatever.
Food.
Sure, but that was the safety. She was the safety. So I could go in over and over and over again and fail for 2 years in entrepreneurship before I made it.
Yeah, all in. Yeah.
But I was all in on that. She facilitated me being all in on that. That investment really paid off for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they've got to achieve the safety piece. And most people, they can't feel it in entrepreneurship until it's already existing. And it can't exist until they've put in the work to build it.
Yeah.
So they don't do it. It's the risk aversion. A lot of people also have objection when it comes to fear, whether that's the fear of judgments, like how people are going to look at them. It's the fear of how people are going to perceive them. What if I fail? The fear of failure, the fear of, this is a weird one. The fear of success. It's real. Stop and think about this. At some point, you started making more money than the average person.
Good point.
Did you think to yourself ever in your journey, maybe you had a year where you made a lot of money versus other years where you didn't make as much, where you realized people couldn't relate to that anymore? Because that happens. Yeah. And then people get weirded out. And not only do they get weirded out, they start to self-sabotage so they don't have to lose the identity of conforming to the people that they were previously conforming with.
Yeah.
Like when I started making money, I, in hindsight, could recognize I was trying to self-sabotage because it was uncomfortable for me to have that money. I had to have an identity shift as someone who could earn high income and as someone who could hold high income, someone who could invest their income and grow their wealth. Like I had to become a totally different person than who I was when I started. But there's a transformational arc that takes place there. So you have to give it enough time to go through that transformation to shift the identity. So that's the other part. People have to invest the time. So you've got to overcome safety, you've got to overcome fear, and you've got to overcome a transformation.
Yeah.
Would you say that if you look back on your life, you kind of mirrored that, or you saw similar experiences?
No. I always find it fascinating that when people are like, oh, I stayed with the same company for 30 years and I just, I did this and that was it.
Safety.
It's
they
wild to me
past that block
that they are okay with that. They're like, yeah, I'm good to make $80,000 a year and I'm good just to stay there. I have a pension. I'll get a gold watch at the end of this, whatever. It's like, yeah, but how much more could you have built? And what is the statistic? It's like 80% or more than 80% of businesses fell in the first 2 years of startup, something like that.
Yeah. So it's over 50% in year one. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I think by the time you get to year 3, it's almost 90%.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah.
And in the real estate world, it's the same.
Yeah. Agents flop.
There's like an 80% attrition.
Well, think about that. Sorry, just things that blow my mind. How many new agents come in every year?
Yeah.
How many of them are gone at the end of year 1? It's probably even worse than the average business life.
Yeah.
You probably have 80+% attrition in year 1.
Yeah.
Because most of those people get their license, they never do a deal.
Yeah. Well, they I know a handful of people over the years. They're like, I just got my license. I passed my test. I'm ready to go. And they don't even do a transaction, right? There's nothing in there for them to, at the end of the line.
Yeah.
they're like, okay, waiting. And then come the dues and come all the, the splits and all these things that come with it. And they're like, I was going to do my grandma's house, but I never did the house. It never came up in that year. Or maybe they bought their own home and they're going to save money and do it that way. And we see that all the time. And then it's like, great, you paid for your dues in year one, but then what happens in year two where you got to pay your dues, you got to, pay your taxes and everything else. And so that's where people are like, oh man, it's not as fun as what I thought it was. And it's a lot of work, dude. It is a very stressful industry. And that's, part of why, if you're good at what you do, you get paid well, because it is very emotionally draining.
Yeah.
Where they'll come, I have clients that it's almost like you're a therapist for them, where the husband's telling you one thing and the wife's telling you something separate. And, it's something like, you guys should be talking together about this, where the husband's like, hey, tell the wife we really want a house with a bigger garage and da-da-da-da-da. And then the wife's, see another house and the wife's like, hey, tell the husband we need a bigger yard and da-da-da-da, whatever it is. And then once you find the house, then the real, turmoil can begin, where things can go sideways very quick, and they often do. And that's where you got to be the glue that holds it all together.
I think a lot of that is you come back to the fear.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of this stems from big purchase.
Yes.
Big purchase.
Most people, it's the biggest purchase they'll ever make in their life.
Financial instability, perhaps. Yeah. It's overcoming, what's this payment look like? It's overcoming, what's this lifestyle look like?
Yes.
For a lot of them, think about this. If they're upgrading homes, they probably self-sabotage because they have that identity that has to become disassociated from where they previously were.
Yeah.
Like, think about Parker McCumber moved from Eagle Mountain to Vineyard.
Yeah.
That's a big shift.
Yeah. The double.
Yeah. Well, at the time, it was a triple.
Yeah, that's right.
From that house value.
Sorry, I didn't mean value, I meant size, right? Like, just the thought of like, do I need this much space? What does this look like?
Correct.
And what does this mean?
But then you have to associate yourself with that. Yeah. And that's the hardest part, I think, for a lot of people. How do you recognize you're taking a step out of the world you've been living in into a different world?
Yeah. Do you believe that I've heard someone say that fear is nothing but the unknown, or something where it's just, you just don't know what the unknown is, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what fear is. Once you learn what that is, you're like, why was I afraid of this thing? Right? Same thing with creating your own business. Why was I afraid of it? Yes, you're going to fall, and that's part of life. You're going to fall. And I think that's where working with, my kids in sports has been so fundamental, because you fell often in sports, right? You go do a play and you fall flat. Great. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Just this week, I had a kid, I won't name names. His may have rhymed with Schmeaton Schmelsworth. But he was, we were coaching baseball. He's on my son's team, and I was coaching him, and I told him, hey, I need you to do this next time, because he made an error. He was in the outfield. The ball got hit to him, and he had the ball and he sat on it for too long, right? Any outfielder that knows, when the ball gets hit to you, we don't expect you to always catch it. If you can, great. If not, you get to the ball as fast as you can and you get it into the infielders. Yeah. Yes, get it in. And he just kind of sat there with it, trying to analyze what was happening on the infield, who was the runners are running bases, and where do I go? And
just get it in.
Just get it in.
Yeah.
And so we finished the inning.
Act of getting it in stops the runner.
Yeah, just stops everything, right? But you sitting there holding it allows everyone to keep going. And so when the inning was over and he's coming back into the dugout, I pulled him aside and I said, dude, take this as a learning moment. This is what you should do. Get it in. If you don't know, just throw it into the infield. If you still don't know, throw it to the pitcher. Just get it in. And then I educated the other kid who happened to be my son. I told him, I said, this is also on you as the shortstop. You should have been waving your hands, and there's a dual relationship role that should have been taking place. And what was interesting is that my son, and not to, pat him on the back, but the next inning came up, we did the batting order or whatever. It was our turn to go back out on defense or in the outfield. And this kid who I had coached and tried to mentor and train, he said, I need to sit out. My son, who was the other half of that equation, was just like, I'm ready to go. And after the game, I pulled the team together and I said, guys, sports is so much like real life that you're going to fall.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail. And that's good. Failure is good. Failure is okay. That's what it sharpens you and makes you be better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tried to educate him and said, you need to understand that when I come in to mentor you, when I come to coach you, I'm not coming to belittle you, to talk down to you. I'm not your father. I'm your coach, but I'm going to coach you to be better. Yeah. And I'm going to show you, because this is so much like life where crap happens, but it's about how you get back up. And I don't know if those that are just comfortable with not getting outside their 9 to 5, if that's why, they've never gone through those experiences and never had someone explaining to them, like, life and business and sports all play really well together.
Yeah.
It's about how you get back up. You fell down, you hurt your knee, but throw some dirt in it and get back at it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where, this day and age, that art has almost been taken away from kids. And I'm actually really curious to see what that looks like for the next generation, to see, what can we do to help them and motivate them and get them back on in the saddle, so to speak. It's just interesting to see.
The fear of failure is illogical to me.
Yeah.
Because think about this. How do your muscles get stronger?
Working them out.
You work them out, but you work them out to failure.
Yep.
And it's the act of pushing to failure that you become a stronger individual.
Yep.
Okay. How do you learn from the football field? You run a play, you fail.
Do it again.
You learn how to do it better.
Yep.
Failure is a great teacher. It's necessary for strengthening our minds. It's necessary for strengthening our bodies. If you can push yourself to failure, get comfortable failing, you succeed better than anybody else.
Yep.
That's a true superpower. Be comfortable with failure.
Yeah. Learn to use it to motivate you. Don't use it to
learn from
handicap
it, grow
you.
from it. Yeah.
Because I feel like so often it just handicaps people to the point of paralysis, where they're just like, I don't know how to start. And so they just give up. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what the next right move is, or whatever it is. It's like, that's okay. That's where you tap into those that know more than you, or that have more experience or more education than you. That's when you learn to what's the next step and finding that next solution,
Absolutely.
Not just quitting and giving up. Right.
Amen. That's it for Base Business today. This was part 2 with Tannen Bodell. Tannen, real quick, say potential for us all.
Say potential?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I love it. I heard somebody else say potential this week, and I was like, oh my gosh, Tannen Bodell.
Potential.
Okay, if you've got one last piece of advice, what would you tell a listener today? They're starting a business. They want to take action. You gave them the just do it. What's the secret sauce in your opinion?
Secret sauce.
Actually, let's keep going. I got so much more.
Are we going part 3? Is that what's happening here?
Maybe we're doing part 3.
Am I going to be your first threesome?
Threer. Yeah, because I wanted to ask just about a bunch of stuff, I guess, in a different lens since we've been talking, right? Because you've obviously, as a real estate agent too, you probably have a very different perception of money than a lot of people, because like you'll get one deal and that deal probably pays you like $30,000. You get another deal, that deal pays you $5,000. So it's not necessarily consistent too. So I'm curious about the skill that you've had to have to develop. How are you budgeting, forecasting? Like those are all probably really valuable things for somebody to learn how to run their business too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, the biggest advice that I got when I started in business was from my dad, who's, very smart businessman and ran his own business for a long, long time. Like I said, he's one of my heroes in regards to everything that I do in life. And one of the things that he said to me was, when like you said, the real estate income is this, right? The ebbs and the flows. And he says, what you need to find is when it's ebbing, that's when you need to live your lifestyle off of that. When it's flowing, that's when you start investing and you start doing those things. And so live your lifestyle based on the ebb, right? Because the flow will come, the flow always does. But where my industry can be so volatile based on the market and what's happening is I try to find any sort of way to be creative in whatever market I'm in, whether it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, a balanced market, whatever it is. But to try to find that happy medium, so that because if you're always riding at the high and you're always spending like you're at the high, then when those down times come, or that month or two where business is slower, whatever it might be, yeah, that's okay. When you're living on the low end. If you're on the high end, then you're hosed, right? Then you're borrowing on credit cards and you're climbing out of debt. And
I feel personally attacked right now.
And and those 20 to 30% interest rates really start handicapping people.
Yeah.
And so that's where you need to do what you can to try to live on the lowest end you can in terms of your monthly nut. And then anything above that, you're great.
I love it. Tannen, you've provided a ton of value to me, to the audience today. What can I do for you and your people?
Nothing. I'm just excited to see if we can make this a consistent thing for me. And I like the idea that I got from it. So thank you for that. Where it's not just bringing in who I know into the Rookery Studios. It's, bringing in past clients, current clients, potential clients. I think for me, that could be a huge win for me. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So. I mean, think about it this way. Are you familiar with the biblical concept of something begets something?
Yeah.
Clients beget clients.
Yep.
You bring in the clients to get more clients.
Yep. I like it.
Dude, of course we can make this something else. You just walk outside and give Bart your card, man. Dude, I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much. Let's go get a sandwich.
Let's do this.